Hello all, welcome to the channel Learn and Heal. Today we are going to start another chapter from the subject Creating an Inclusive School. Inclusive school, you might have heard this word, right? An estimated 240 million children worldwide live with disabilities. Like all the children, children with the disabilities have ambitions and dreams for their future. Like all children, they need quality education to develop their skills and realize their full potential. There comes the importance of inclusive education. Inclusive education is the most effective way to give all children a fair chance to go to school, learn, and develop the skills they need to thrive. Inclusive education means all children in the same classroom, in the same schools, that is, real learning opportunities for the groups who have traditionally been excluded. Not only the children with disability, but also the children who are speaking the minority language too. So, all these kids are coming under the same classroom. So, this is a beautiful idea of inclusive education. And now we are going to discuss the chapter Understanding the Disability, the first unit of the subject Creating an Inclusive School. Let's start. Looking at the objective of this chapter, you have to understand what is disability and explain the characteristics of disability and classify the different types of disability. So, after learning this chapter, you will be understanding what is disability, what are the characteristics of disability, what are the classification of different types of disabilities. Moving to the syllabus, we will be quickly going to the syllabus of this chapter. Meaning and definition of disability, meaning and definition of impairment, differences between disability and impairment, the characteristics of disabilities, the cause of disabilities, type of disabilities like hearing impairment, speech impairment, visual impairment, mobility or physically challenged, psychological disorder, mentally retarded, cerebral palsy, and multiple disability. Let's take a look at the introduction. What is education? Education is the all-round development of personality of a children. Children. It doesn't matter whether he is mentally or physically able or disabled. Education is a fundamental right of every child. So, sufficient opportunities should be provided to the child in education. Based on this, educational opportunities for special children are also stressed in our country. Swami Vivekananda emphasized if special children are unable to move towards education, the education should go towards them. How beautiful the quote is with the great meaning. Beautiful. Then we'll be seeing about the meaning and definition of the disability. Disability is defined as any restriction or lack of ability to perform an activity in the manner or within the range considered normal for a human being. So the people with disability cannot be having that easiness to do an activity that is done by a normal human being. So this is what the meaning of disability. Then disability is a condition or a function judged to be significantly impaired relative to the usual standard of an individual group. If you compare the individual group with the disabled person, you can able to understand what is the problem, right? And what is impairment? We discussed about the disability, and now what is impairment? Impairment is the loss of an organ. See, there it was a restriction of doing some activities, that was disability. But here, impairment is the loss of an organ or the defect in the structure and function of the organ of a person. This defect may be temporary or permanent. You can see the difference between disability and impairment, so you will be getting a great idea about what is the difference between these two. First one, look at that. Any restriction or lack of ability to perform the activity is considered normal for a human being? The definition we have seen: any restriction or lack of ability to perform an activity considered normal for a human being. And this disability resulting from impairment limiting the range and efficiency of one's functioning. This degree of disability can be reduced with the use of equipments and appliances. Right? If you are having hearing problem, okay, you are having some a kind of helping aid, right? If you are having like some other disability, some equipments will be there. If you wanted to walk, like if you are disabled, okay, you are having something. So this is somewhat the degree, the impact of disability can be reduced here. When it comes to impairment, it is any loss or abnormality of psychological, physiological, or anatomical structure or function. It can be genetic. It may occur due to occur in developmental stages, or maybe due to accident or disease. You can see that if a person is affected by diabetes and his diabetics becomes severe stage, what you have to do is you have to remove your limbs. So it is also an impairment due to the disease of, or if somebody got accident and he is paralyzed, again there's a impairment. Once impairment occurs, it cannot be completely rectified. If one impairment occurs, it cannot be completely rectified. But on the other side, yeah, disability could be reduced with the help of equipment or appliances. I hope you got the clarity between what is the difference between disability and impairment. Now we will be seeing the different characteristics of disabilities. The first one, due to loss or abnormality of physical organ, like the malfunction of limbs, cleft lips, disfigured fingers, you can see that this abnormal formation of limbs you can see from the picture, and cleft lips, these are the characteristics of disability. Then you can say another reason here, disorder due to dysfunctioning of organs of the body, even though they may have normal anatomical structure. The anatomy will be perfect, but the organs will have some dysfunctioning. Then the impairments of organs in the body is also characteristics of this one. Then due to genetic disorder, developmental defects, accidents or diseases, due to limitation of one's functioning arising from impairment. So if you are having impairment, definitely it will limit your functioning, right? You will not be that much active as a normal human being. Then due to inability to understand the activities of daily life like others, that is, one's functional efficiency will be getting affected. The degree of disability could be reduced with the use of appropriate equipments and appliances. We have seen that, see the diagram. So this kind of appliances will reduce the degree or the impact of that disability. The handicap arising due to disability could be greatly reduced by providing appropriate opportunities and facilities in the society. Yeah, you can have the job reservation, you can give them the reservation in the transport, right? Wherever possible, you can give the reservation so that you can make him come into the upper strata of the society. Then rehabilitation could be provided to the disabled by offering proper educational climate and exercise. If you give them proper education, proper exercise, so their physical and mentally their well-being will be good, and they can go for the kind of jobs that they can do. So rehabilitation could be provided to the disabled by offering proper educational climate and exercise. Without motivation and exercise, the degree of disability is likely to increase. It is the responsibility of we people that this people with disability is not getting cornered in the society. So bring them in the front side of the society. So give motivation. So otherwise the degree of disability is likely to increase. So that is gonna be a big challenge to the society. So a society should be having the capacity to accommodate all. Then the cause of disability, genetic disorder can be a reason of this cause of disability, and severe malnutrition can be a problem. Then diseases like polio, paralysis, fever, cerebral palsy, there's nothing but the stage of paralysis where your muscles and bones are not working due to genetic or brain defect. So this kind of diseases will be the cause of disability. Yes, then artificial fertilization can be a problem. The next one is problem during delivery. Any injury can happen to the child so that it will cause the disability. Severe accidents can cause the disability. Then adverse effect of drugs consumed during pregnancy. Again, that is gonna affect the child very badly. So that is these are the cause of disabilities: genetic disorder, severe malnutrition, disease like polio, paralysis, brain fever, etc., artificial fertilization, problems during surgery, severe accidents, adverse effect of drugs consumed during pregnancy. We are winding up the lecture here. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.